I'm Flores, and my first storytelling experience ever was this event for Nestor a year and a half ago, which I'm not a storyteller by trade at all. I am a speaker, advocate, and an actor, past actor. And so this event is very dear to my heart because that night at the Steppenwolf, when I did this event for Nestor, he gave this to me, a giant Guatemalan worry doll. Now when he gave it to me, he didn't realize that this actually holds some significance to my immigration story and my history, so hopefully you'll see the connection. Her name's Jackie, so remember this. This is a story about Jacqueline L. Mason. She was born in 1934. She was born into a coal mining family in Kentucky and was raised very poor, the youngest of 5 children. She moved to Peoria, Illinois because they did not have any more jobs available when the coal mines closed down, so the family migrated. The single mother and her 5 children moved up to Peoria, Illinois, thinking that there was more industrial work available for their families. Jacqueline grew up believing that she needed to get married, raise children, and be a stay-at-home mom. They did not realize that Jacqueline had bigger aspirations for herself. She began by becoming a missionary through the Roman Catholic Church and flew to Guatemala, becoming a missionary there for 3 years. That began this deep love for philanthropy and for service for others. She came back home, said, I want to do something. Maybe not be in the Catholic service, maybe not become a nun, but maybe I'll do something in healthcare. So she volunteered to be a candy striper at the Peoria Hospital, and then realized, I have a knack for this, healthcare. She got, literally, an associate's degree, and which, fast forward to a life and future for her, became the first woman to ever open her long-term care facility in the United States. 1 became 2, became 3. Later speaking in Congress to advocate for the long-term care industry, becoming the first woman to open her own consulting firm that would allow her and a team of women to fly around the country and inspect these nursing care facilities, making sure that each of them are up to par with public health. She would not realize that in the peak of her business, she would be an audience to my mother, Nellie Flores, who came here as an immigrant and in 48 hours was begging her for a job. My mom and I and my sister, the 3 girls, were part of that revolution with the Marcos overthrow. Martial law was there. Schools are closed. The government was closed. Tanks everywhere. Fear everywhere. And my mom said, there is no way I am having my children live here. She, among many women, many families, begged for a visa. Of course, they did not give her that visa unless she left her 2 girls in the Philippines. That way she could come back and not spend the rest of her life living in a beautiful world of America. So my mom came. My godmother was here in Chicago, already a nurse for Jacqueline Mason. And she said, come with me. This amazing lady has already helped many nurses in the 80s immigrate and get visas to work and live here and start lives. This is nothing for her. She'll help you get a visa. So here she is sitting there, my mom. So I have no healthcare experience, but I have a degree and I worked at the Philippine Heart Center for Asia as an executive assistant to a doctor. But I will clean toilets. I will sweep floors. I will work all hours if I can just start gaining money so I can sponsor my children to come to the US. She heard my mother's story and what she left there was 2 children living with cousins. Children under 10, alone, not knowing if they were ever going to see their mother again. So, because my mom was hysterical and crying, my strong mother, who doesn't cry very often, she said, stop crying, I'll get them here, because no mother should be separated from her children. She thought that this was going to be easy. Sponsorship, come work for me. She's done this a million times before. And it wasn't. It was very difficult. And so this became a long, extended period of trying to get 2 girls here to America. Sunday phone calls with Jackie, getting to know her, loving her, realizing that she was going to be a significant part of our lives. And when we finally immigrated here under very beautiful and very special circumstances, and we arrived from O'Hare Airport on Thanksgiving Day in 1987, she thought her work was done. Now, what most people don't realize is Jacqueline Mason purchased my mom's house in the western suburbs, prepared us for school. We had our own rooms, a life. We came from a third world country. My mother is a single parent of 2. We had no idea that this woman, with all of her generosity, was going to do this for a woman that she had no idea who she was. So she said, okay, here you go, Thanksgiving, gifts, enjoy your life, which she did with many of her nurses. Be successful, she'd say. We said, no, come to dinner tomorrow. And what would happen later is that dinners became her signing me up for Girl Scouts, and then her seeing every recital. Signing me up for theater classes, dance classes, driving me to college, teaching me how to drive, walking me down the aisle, and even seeing my marriage end and supporting me on her deathbed. Jacqueline Mason became my mom. A perfect stranger to our lives and our family, a Southern woman from Kentucky who had no desire to be married, but ended up actually becoming a parent. The reason I'm here and the reason that I do what I do is because of her philanthropic spirit and her love for others and strangers, and that is the love that I connected with Nestor on. He saw a girl who had a story to tell without any history of storytelling except told my own story in a speaking format, and he said, come join me, and now it's grown into a story. I've been invited to multiple events that Nestor has suggested for me, and you don't even realize that when he gave this to me, I connected it to Jacqueline, Tita J, who raised me, and my other mother. Thank you.